Today I'll show you how I make my own impression dies or shot plates in stainless steel. So if you're interested in that, I hope you will enjoy this video. This is definitely the biggest laser engraver that I ever used, but as you can see, it still fits in my studio nicely. And this part right here is actually the laser itself. And this part over here is fume extractor, and it handles fine dust, it filters the air. For my very first tries, I've used this steel plate, which was provided with the laser engraver. It's about 2 millimeters thick, and as you can see, these aren't great. But I had to start somewhere and figure out the settings. I was able to get some that I was happy with, and this is what I was able to achieve, from the bad ones over here all the way to the good ones. And I'll show you how these worked, and of course I'm gonna show you my settings. But this little piece of steel I got from my dad. It was perfect for experimenting and trying out settings, but I needed something for creating proper impression die. So this is what I found. I was looking for a shape that wouldn't be too big, that would be comfortable to use and would be stainless steel. And I'll give you a moment to try to guess what it is. Okay, so that is a door stopper. And I was very excited when I found it. It's solid, so it's not empty inside, and it's stainless steel. And I was able to find it in a shop called Castorama, which is like Home Depot or similar shops where you get all those tools and items for your home, etc. The program I'm using is xTool Studio, which you use with xTool laser engravers. This one is really good because it has built-in AI feature, which helps you create those a little bit trickier designs. For example, I'm not able to make a depth map by myself, so I'm using this AI feature here. And why it's important? Because actually to create those impression dies, you need your image saved in what's called a depth map, and it offers you those layers and rounded edges. This format is actually important here, and from my experience it worked best. Also, because of that gradient, it's easier to get your silver out of there. Okay, I'm going to screen record so you can see clearly what I'm doing. Here we can see our workspace. We are going to process embossment, and as material, I am going to go for stainless steel. We are going to reload the camera. There we go. And we are going to measure. Perfect. So let's import our image. As you can see, these look 3D, and this is a depth map that I was able to create. So let's go for the flower. Let's cut out the background first. I'm using AI cutout. Now I'm also going to adjust it a little bit. Well, first of all, I'm going to invert the image because I want darker parts to be deeper. Yeah, so I would say sharpness around 30 something, brightness around 2, and contrast around 40. This is how it looks like after I took it out of the machine. So I'm going to clean it a little bit and we're going to test it. Here are a few useful items now. A butter or wax, things to lubricate inside so that it's easier to get your silver out. A solid flat surface. That's why I'm going to use my steel block on top of sandbag. It's just important that your block sits nicely and doesn't move. Of course, we will need a heavy hammer, and ideally a brass hammer or brass mallet, something heavy. And this, you might be wondering what this is. So it's actually a spinner ring maker by frets. But I found out that because it's steel and it's very nicely shaped and it's solid and strong, I can actually use it as a punch that helps me hammer and push the silver inside of these impression dies. And a masking tape like this can also be very useful to hold your metal in one place. Let me melt some silver now. I'm actually going to go for fine silver because it's softer, but of course you can also use sterling silver. For this, actually little cut-offs are great after you make bezels and you have some fine silver left. So what I'm doing, I'm just melting it into a little ball of silver. Before I use it, actually, I'm going to flatten it a little bit so that it sits better. And after that, I'm going to have to anneal it so that it's softer. Okay, and now we have a little problem because it sits in there quite well. So I'm going to need some help getting it out. I have this tool which I purchased a long time ago. I think it might be a dental tool. I found it in an antique shop and it's very thin, but it's not sharp like a knife. Okay, it came out. Let's clean it to see how it looks like. I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? The sides definitely look very rough, but obviously I would either cut it out, or if I was going to leave it on a back plate like this, I would cut it to shape and clean it so that it looks presentable. Let me show you other examples and results. This was one of the first tries. It was a bit too shallow. After a few more tries, I was able to get these results. Here are my flowers and a couple of leaves. Here are beetles I was trying out. I'm very happy with this one and this one. I tried a little butterfly and a moth. I definitely need to work on these ones. And I also tried this little image of a bird with a star and a moon. So this is another one I tried with slightly different shapes. I've cleaned it up, so that's why it looks sharp and nice right now. However, I've noticed one thing. So this is actually tool steel and this is stainless steel, 304, and it's a bit different than this one. This one tolerates heat a bit better, and that's why all of the inner edges and the bottom surface is much cleaner and sharper. However, here you can see kind of like a sandy effect at the bottom, and also the inner edges are not as sharp and clean as I would like them to be, as they are over here. That's why I'm still experimenting with the settings. I'll show you. There we go. I've been trying to find the right ones, and over here. So I'm still experimenting. If I find the right ones, they will be towards the end of this video, and I will share them with you. Let's continue. I did a few more tests, so I had the same settings for engraving, but I actually changed some settings for the files themselves. What I was doing, I was just experimenting and seeing if the editing of the files themselves would also influence the result. From what I can tell just by looking at these, I feel there might be slight difference. But I've realized that we can test these without actually using silver. So blue tack or white tack, you could use clay, for example. Just press it in and see how the shape looks like. I'll try using this. Both bees and the flower look great. I wouldn't say there is a big difference between different images of those bees, so I would say it doesn't matter that much. I've picked the layout, so all 4 designs will fit on this block, and I'm going to actually save this for later so that I don't have to work on it each time. We're going to emboss it. And this will take 20 minutes. This is how it looks like right after engraving. I'm going to go clean it because there's still a lot of dust residue, and I'll show you how it looks like then. So let's try seeing how the designs look like, and then we'll try with silver. I've put a double-sided tape over here because it's easier to keep it in place. This is the final effect. I am very happy with these. The shapes look sharp and clean. Of course, there is something that I could still improve and work on these and experiment, but so far I am happy with the settings, which I'm sharing with you on the screen right now. Pause if you'd like to copy them and experiment yourself. Lots of details. I'm very happy with how they turned out. And I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments what you think. What are your suggestions? I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for another part in this series where I am working on another very interesting project. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!